Yeah,
Just a second, just a minute.
now it is clear.
Sir, is it clear now?
Yes, yes, it's clear.
Okay, sir. Let us start the session now. So I think only 11 attending so far. So shall we wait another 1 or 2 minutes, sir?
Yes, yes, we'll wait.
Yeah, sure, sir. Okay. Sanjay, sir.
Yes.
Sir, we'll have an introduction, sir, because it is 1:35. So let them join, no issues. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll continue.
good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon to my dear participants. It is me, like Mallesh, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science, Engineering, Gopalan College of Engineering. Welcome you all for the third day ACT sponsored online SCTPU. This is the phase 3 of this SATB, and this particular session is going to be on forensic usage in IT companies and self-investigation to collect ethic evidence. So we have a wonderful guest with us who is a facilitator, Mr. Sanjay Kumar, Cyber Intelligence Officer, Center for Cyber Security Council, Hyderabad. Mr. Sanjay Kumar sir has solved over 6,000 cyber crimes, is an expert advisor. He has officially trained 1 lakh police officers ranking from SI to IPS officer from various academics like Karnataka Police Academy, Biju Patnaik Police Academy, Telangana Police Academy, Central Detective Training Institute, Maharashtra, Government of India, and many more like that. Then he has also been an international trainer for Royal Oman Police, Sultanate of Oman, Malaysia Police, Singapore Police, Sri Lanka Police. Dear participant, I'll assure you, so today, this particular session, second session, is going to be a wonderful session. You can get lot of inputs from our Sanjay Kumar sir. Uh, I welcome you, sir, once again. So
Yes, thank you.
now, yes, sir, it's over to you, sir. Now you can carry on with your presentation, sir. Thank you, sir.
So I want to know that before start this session, who all are the stakeholders? Sir? Hello, sir.
Hello, yeah.
Yeah, I want to know who all are the stakeholders or audience for this session, sir.
Yes, sir. From
Any
some
name?
students as well as some faculties are there.
Okay.
Oh, those people, sir. Scholars, research scholars,
Okay.
likewise.
Okay, just a second. I'm just sharing.
Sure, sir.
Everybody can see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So, dear all, as sir has introduced about myself, so quickly I'll just go through about our experience. And we have recognized in a different sectors of government as well as the private sector and international. And there are many companies who are actually into the leader in forensics. So like NCASE, Access Data, Magnet Forensics, Trace IP, Celebrate, Truth Labs, it's from India, and Key Forensics, Oxygen Forensics, and other many more companies are there, IB groups like that. So there are plenty of companies, they develop their own software to help the industries like government sector or a private sector like that. There is no individual research or forensic is available. But the below mentioned leader in forensic tools, these are across the worldwide, has been approved by Supreme Court of their respective country. Okay, because these are the valid and they are eligible under section 143 Evidence Act, can be prosecuted at the court of law. So whatever we do the self-investigation at IT company premises, either we need to collect and submit to the investigation officer, and those investigation officer will use these tools and the below tools for the final authentication, where in the Evidence Act, as per electronic, we called as a 65B. This is the section which is applied if you are submitting at the court. So as individual, how it works, what is the procedure, why we involved in this, why it is so interesting this topic, and how we can utilize as a system administrator, as a software developer, as a system architect, as a solution architect. Everybody should know about these forensic tools and who all are the main cause audience to use this forensic tool. Either the forensic tool can be divided into 4 parts. One, as a software company employee, I am a software company employee, but I'm working as a tester. Tester means software testing. So that software testing people also can use this tool. Plus, there is a forensic team. Forensic team means who has government has organized a authorized center where these applications are available and they can utilize this application. Third, either at the time of court of law, the court will also test it. Either the given information is correct, true to the best of their the petitioner who has filed a case. And the fourth one is police investigation officer. If there is a law enforcement is interested to know about exactly the crime has happened. So as we are in the basic level, as a layman, we will talk today about how we can utilize a forensic technology at corporate IT companies as a employee of that company. So let's understand what are the other vendors are we should know. For SSL security partners in the market, Cisco, Intel, D-Link, Sentinel, RSA Secure ID, Symantec, Geotrust, Google, Kaspersky, Quick Hills, AVG Antivirus, Trend Micro. These are the company which comes under SSL security. System integrator. Integrator means the premises you are working. Actually, without these leaders, it will not work. Like example, IBM servers, HCL machines, Infosys softwares, TCS softwares, Wipro softwares, Dell company, Dell servers, Dell desktops, Dell laptops, like that. Tech Mahindra is completely again a software company. Indra is again it is a software company. These are the system integrator. They integrate with the XY product to Y product. We will discuss today in detail, in depth, and a different way. Now next comes to hardware. Suppose you are using Intel processor, HP server, IBM application, Oracle database, Symantec as antivirus, McAfee as antivirus, Quickhill as a security product, RSA as a security IDs. So these are the hardware product. So the combination of a software, security, system integrator, and hardware will combine, one technology will come. So that technology, when we are responsible as a system administrator, network administrator, wireless administrator, Cisco certified system engineer, or anything, when we are joining any company as a responsible employee, we must know who all are the vendors are there in the market. Now, I'll just quickly start What is exactly a forensics? First, we have to know that. Without knowing, if you are going, it's no use. A forensic can be a physical forensics or a digital forensics. Physical forensics means, suppose in our house, take it an example that in our house, one day you kept your mobile phone at top level of your desktop, okay, table. But suddenly one day that mobile has been moved from one location to another location and we don't know where is my mobile is located. So you are doing a self investigation. Where is my mobile? This is one way called physical investigation. But when there is a problem with your mobile phone, if anything happens, like today my mobile was working perfectly, I was able to call, I was able to receive, I was able to surfing, WhatsApp, Facebook, but suddenly what happened that the mobile is operating automatically. Some applications are installing automatically. Then after a few days, I found that someone has taken my access of my Facebook. Someone is trying to access my SMS to read. Someone is trying to copy my contacts. So when we are going inside any digital device, when we are going to investigate of a digital device, is nothing but a digital forensics. Forensics means deep learning investigation. Deep learning means what? Again, the core level of investigation or analysis of some subject. So my mobile is one subject. In that subject, I need to identify and I have to realize when was last used my mobile, how it was used. Either this phone is given to anyone, either this phone was utilized by installing any software. Do I downloaded any application, or does this did I receive any link to my mobile? Those analysis when we are doing, we called as a forensic under digital devices. So these digital devices is identifies the types. How we can do that? Like we'll do just personal computers at work, at home, digital cameras, web cameras, cameras and video, cell phone, documents, image scanners, digital recording, duplicating devices, anything which comes under digital technology. Now, how digital evidence is stored in our computer, we must know that. So I'll just show you, like I will connect this mobile phone using my laptop. So I'm just connecting so that I can show you everyone. I have connected the cable to my mobile phone. Now, after connecting, it will display this process everybody knows. Internal shared storage. So all my storage informations are here. So with this mobile, when we are doing any analysis, how my file structures are there, how many softwares I have installed, we know very well. But sometimes we don't know what exactly application has been installed. So what we have to do, this is a mobile analysis. I'm just showing. Go to play.google.com if this is a Android application. Okay, only for Android application we normally investigate with this process. So when I click, I have not logged in. So let me log in with my email ID and password. See, I have logged in now. Now I'll click here. How many apps has been installed in my this one? I'll just cross check. See, these are the application which is I know, like Google Chrome, Page app, Beam app, DBS Bank, RBL Bank, WhatsApp. These are the application which is installed. Those are installed only, it will show as a tick mark. Those are unticked, but anonymously this application was installed. That time we can recognize, okay, these are the applications which is I have not installed, but it is showing here. Means we are just doing a first level of a small investigation. We are not doing anything, just simple one line of investigation. Next investigation is just going Google dashboard. Okay, and when we click this, it's going to redirect to the Google dashboard. So suppose I am having my Android phone and last 5 days I saw that there are a anonymous activity has been done and I don't know what exactly happened to my mobile. This is called self-investigation. This investigation report will not utilize in anywhere. Okay. If we know the process, then only we have to do the digital investigation. This is very basic of a self-level investigation, not in digital investigation. Okay, so now what I am doing, I'll just cross check. Is there any additional email ID has been connected to my mobile? No. What is my account? How many accounts I have? It's showing. The next, how many Android mobile has been connected to this machine? Then it will show. Okay, then it will show as if two type of machines are connected. Now, if there is a Chrome, in the Chrome, how many bookmarks has been connected, from when it has been connected, how many contacts have been there. Here also it will show here how many mobile applications are there. In Google Play Store, how many applications I have installed here. It will show here there are 55 mobile application has been installed. Okay, how many photographs are there? Means my mobile is not compromised. There is some other procedures has been happened to my mobile that we need to identify. Now next comes to a map timeline. When you click this, wherever I have visited this mobile and how this mobile activity was done, here we can see this. See, my mobile was visited on these locations. Okay, it's showing Oman, this is showing Bangalore, Mumbai, Hyderabad, the New Delhi, and Bhutan, Bangladesh. Wherever I have visited and across the world, my mobile is showing here. So suppose my mobile is showing some anonymous activity, how I have moved, wherever I have gone, how I have visited, all these will show here. So this is nothing but a one type of a self-investigation. Okay, that is nothing but a digital investigation process. Now next is a file level. So here there are many options are there. I can see here WLAN logs. Like each activity, whatever we do, the analysis process we call as a log analysis. Log means what? Log is a one type of capture of events. Like today, you all are joined into the Gopalan College of AICT approved sponsor course. Now in this course, how many people have been logged in into this Microsoft team and it has been recorded. Okay. So after a few days, if they want to analysis, how many people has been attended, how was the training, those analysis we call as a log analysis, which is already captured. So here you can see there are multiple files has been generated. In my mobile, whatever I do, it will capture all the logs which will be available in your mobile application under storage. There you can see here the logs, and these logs if you open, it will not open. I need to just copy to my local desktop. Once again. It's not copying. Rightly edit plus. It's not captured. See which date, which timing, okay, with ID, how the system has been utilized that wireless access. Okay, like somebody has accessed my mobile. Here I can identify that. Okay, with this process, somebody has accessed my mobile, and what was this? So for this, it will take, for a new person, it will take some time to understand, but it was already categorized in a very nice way so that we can understand line by line. Okay, I have used for printing request. These are the basic commands. This is a little bit knowledge is required of Windows, a disk operating system, a DOS key, and a few analysis of understanding of a MAC address, which MAC address was used in my mobile phone. Additionally, Wi-Fi connection, how I was used Wi-Fi connections, what is my in time, what is my out time, how I have used either using a WDA concept, or I have used Wi-Fi connections, or I have used port enabled cable for internet usage, and what was my SSID I have utilized. Everything will be displayed here. So this way we can do the log analysis. This is one way. Next, the file level, we can identify like what are the WhatsApp I have. In that WhatsApp, what I have used the database. See, these are the database will be stored. Like at the time of investigation, suppose a company is using one software. We can take example of a team viewer. Okay, I'm just checking where I have a team viewer. Okay, I have not installed. If we install any other software, let me check in C drive, program files. Okay, where is GH? Okay, I will just continue so that I will show you. So all these files will be stored into a ones and zeros with a binary, where we should know about how the disk storage process, either it is a laptop, either it is a desktop, either it is a tablet, everywhere the hard disk structure will be the same, and it depends on the drive type. If it is a hard drive, then that type of structure is different. But when it comes to your pen drive, the structure will be different. Again, if you have a microchip, that will be also again different. Like suppose this is, we have a microchip for SD card, micro SD card, which will have, again it is very small. So we need to understand at the time of investigation the storage procedure, how that data has been stored. Even though if I formatted of 10 times, we can still recover the data. So suppose in one organization I'm working as an employee, as a system admin or a software developer, I have worked many coding in my machine, and due to some misleading, the file was got deleted. Okay, so after deleting, how to recover that? So to recover, there are multiple applications are available. So we should know that after deleting of any files, how the data has been stored into the hard drive, in the memory drive, or anywhere. Second, how many types of cookies are available? How many type of cache memories are available? We should know that. Like browser cache memory. What is browser cache memory? When you click this, see, these are the my recent activity of a Microsoft Word file. This is nothing but a document cache memory. Okay, when you are using a document, these are the setups accessed by earlier in my computer. So we call it as a document cache memory. When it comes to browser, when you are going to browser, here history is there. See, these are the tabs I have accessed in the browser. We call it as a browser cache memory. In the browser, we are storing the data or information. Okay, so we should know that what is a browser cache memory, what is a document cache memory, what is a file cache memory. When you click this percentage TMP percentage and enter, here we can see these are called a file cache memory. Means these all are a temporary file. There is no use. I can select all and just delete. That's it. 393 MB. I'm just deleting so that my system will be more faster, because there is no use of this file. But at the time of investigation, we can utilize this information as our investigation tool to understand how and why these files are there. You can utilize for future reference. If you're using a Skype, then Skype will have their own logs. See, operation logs, metadata logs, crashpad metrics logs, reports, everything will be stored in this area. What is the location area? Now C drive, user, administrator, app data, local, temp. Under that temp, these crashes files are available here. Okay. So now here we can get also other information under a temp called McAfee. Why McAfee data are showing here? Because I have installed my McAfee antivirus software. This McAfee antivirus software, we will enable my computer of each and every activities. Either it is a malicious activity, either it is a threat activity, either it is a malware activity, either it is a Trojan activity, either it is a virus activity. It will just monitor and keep everything into my temp folder. So while doing a self investigation at any company, we need to do a different level of analysis. That's why in forensic, in single word, we call it as a deep learning investigation. It is not only for police, it is not only for a court or a lawyer. Please, the forensic is very, very important in our personal life also. We have to analyze what exactly the right one, what exactly the wrong thing. We need to identify, we have to bring out those in front of the table. Okay, so now we have understood that if it is a self level of investigation, what and how we can do that. And when it comes to physical investigation, we know very well. Now we are going to talk about the next level of investigation called digital evidence. How to collect those evidences from the information. Like another information, I'm just going to show you prefetch. This is also one type of memory. Like whenever you are accessing any type of application, any type, or whatever you are doing of any activity, everything will be created as a .pf file. See, .pf. Pf means prefetch file. Means before loading of any file, it will create one pf file to make more faster, and this will be the digital evidence will be keep here. Still, if someone has deleted this file also, still we can recovery who has deleted, when it was deleted, how it was deleted, every information will be stored here. So now you can see here the which date, which timing this file was created. 16/12, 14/12. Yesterday I was using of this file. So this file is belong to which application? That also we can know that. So for that we should have some ethical software which can read out. See, these are the jump character. A normal person cannot understand what exactly a Chinese zigzag letters are there. But to read these all languages, we have a tool. Those type of tool we called as a access data tool, Cellebrite tool. There are other forensic tool softwares are there which can able to read these internal codings are there, so that we can identify when this file was used, for what purpose this file was used. See, by seeing this you can understand this is used for office application. This is o2flash.exe. This is just for my small SD cards. Okay, here it is showing that I have accessed Skype software on 14th December 2020 at 5:20 p.m. So these investigations will tell you when we are working any IT company, you are the software developer, you have written one code and that code was deleted. Sometime what happens, so we think that these are the not required. That time we can utilize called a beyond compare tool, where which code was deleted earlier, which code was to be kept and which was not required. So those type of tools are there called beyond compare. We can utilize that tool for our investigation. It is very useful. Then there is a edit plus. It's a very small text editor, but it will tell you that while doing an investigation of line by line, column by column, character by character, everything to create a report. Means what? When you created the code, that time your line of code is suppose 300 line. Okay, but there is a spam or malware came into your computer and it was a sieging. So once it is sieging, it will freeze your entire 300 line code and they will add another 100 line of code, so that your computer cannot understand what exactly it happens to my file. So it is very easy. What is ransomware? Ransomware is nothing but they understand the operating system thoroughly. Everybody can do that. People think that, boss, my computer was got hacked and it was ransomware. People are asking me crores of rupees to recover my data. Array, what they do exactly? We have to understand first how it was hacked. Is my network is compromised? Is my system is compromised? We should know the step-by-step process. It's very simple. What we have to do that. Now, when any system or a computer or a laptop or a mobile or a tablet is got hacked, what is the first protocol? Take it an example as my house. My house is constructed with a highly security protected with a CCTV camera of 5 bouncers are waiting outside, and before entering inside my premises, they should complete the protocols. Then only they can reach to my desk. This is my protocol. But unfortunately, one of my employees going outside and telling that these are the files is available. Okay, these are the files are available. These are the peoples are there inside. This way you have to do. This is the password, everything. Who is telling? It means that inside we are keeping, because a general people cannot remember their passwords. So what they do, they will write in their diaries. So here the victim has kept everything like Wi-Fi password, my bank password, my system password, my login password, my email password, everything they will keep in one notepad. What these hackers do, they will give you a offer, like you are browsing one Facebook. So at the time of browsing a Facebook, you saw that, wow, very nice mobile is available. It's just Apple mobile a 10.1 version is coming under only 25,000 rupees. Click here now to get the bonus. So that attractive advertisement, we are just clicking. After clicking that, it will lead to the next redirected website. At the time of redirecting from one Facebook to another new website, in between we call it as a middleman attack. This middleman attack means what? They are wanted, they created the link where you are redirecting from Facebook to xyz.com. In between, middleman attacker will try to read out your information, how you are operating this Facebook, either from mobile, either from tablet, either from desktop, either from laptop. So they will know that by using that code. Now they are trying to install one plugin in your browser. Okay, it will tell that to redirect it and to get this offer, you need to install this plugin in your browser so that it will redirect and enable your offer. Because the offer is catching the public. That is nothing but a phishing technology. Phishing. Everybody knows, I think phishing is very a common word. When we are going to pond to catch the fish, what we do? We are just taking the long stick and with a rope, and that rope will have a nail, and that nail will contain one small insect, and we are just putting and throwing to the pond, and we are just waiting for 1 hour, 2 hour, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 5 day. On the 6th day, the fish is coming and trying to eat that insect, and that mouth is getting stuck in the nail, and you are just pulling outside so that no water, the fish will be get die. The same way fishing also same thing. They are just giving a offer. You just keep watching who is the person. It's bakra, they will put, and once the bakra comes, they will pull out and they will drop one application called malware injection, SQL injections. SQL injection is here not come, only the malware injection will come, that the plugin will install in your browser. So browser will understand what are the things available in the browser. I'll show you in the browser. It's called Google Chrome browser. Right click on this 3 dot and go to settings. In the settings, if you click here you can see what are all my passwords are available. I have never saved any password. Suppose I'm using HDFC Bank, net banking, IRCTC, Microsoft, text message, everything I'm using, but I never save my password. So they will come inside the browser, they will try to read out everything what you have. So they saw that I don't keep my password. Now they'll check for the payment methods. I never keep. So they will check for another address and more. They will go again back and they will check any cookies are available. Yes, there is a cookies are there. They will check it. How many cookies are there? Because I always every day I have marked as a time range called all times. Whenever I exit my browser, please delete all the cookies. Please clear my all cache memory. Please delete all my browsing history. Please delete all my download history. So everything I'm just clearing on my exit. If I close, automatically all my cookies will be deleted. But the hackers who has shared that malware will be sit inside your Chrome. Okay, where is the Chrome and how this plugin will be installed? If you click this more details, under this you can find extensions. Under this extension, all the malware will come here and it will be kept here because you have only enabled that extension plugin in your Chrome. So that extension plugin will try to read out what are the features, functionality, passwords, cookies, and everything. It will be try to read out, and this is nothing but a phishing technology. Once it is done, they will send one application that you have to download this application anonymously. Automatically it will install inside. That is nothing but a silent installation. That silent installation application will install inside the computer. We call it as a keylogger with remote access. Keylogger means what? Keylogger is nothing but one application which will capture the entire key text. Suppose I'm typing one username and password, like username is ruchipriya@yahoo.com and password I'm typing. Okay. These are 35@123. So whatever I'm just typing, everything will be captured in a notepad. That notepad we called as a syslogger, system logger, key logger. How many key you are pressing, all the keys will be captured so that the hacker who is sitting in other side, he will try to capture all your information using this notepad, and that notepad will be sniffed the outside the world. The third step, when they download any of the application, that will be start encrypting your each and every file which is having in your computer. So that is nothing but a ransomware virus. What is a virus? Virus is nothing but a vital information resource under siege. Okay, vital means what? Important information, resource. Okay, important information, resource means what are the information I have in my file will be get seized. Seized means it will be like this. Like this, it will be encrypted. So that a normal user cannot read out what exactly this information. Plus, the encryption algorithm also they design in such a way that you cannot find that tool in across the world except those people, because algorithm can be designed anyone based on their technology. Suppose I'm designing my own algorithm, then I will use a 128-bit encryption. Suppose XYZ person will design, he may be designing a 448-bit military encryption of a algorithm. Then that will be very difficult. And that case, recently you people heard about Haldiram company was got hacked and the ransomware amount was 1.6 crore rupees. There is an Indian hacker only wantedly he has done. He's an IT guy who was working inside the Haldiram company. When the company was fired him, immediately he was taken a revenge and just trying to install the software. But unfortunately, or fortunately, Haldiram was having a very good friend who is staying in USA. The person came to India and they have decrypted because the encryption level of algorithm was student level and which was cracked very easily, and the person was got arrested based on the IP address and log details, which was very easy. This way we do the digital forensic investigations. Okay, so now I'm just going to talk about the cloud computing. So this is coming to a desktop version or an operating system level of a digital forensics. But when it comes to a cloud computing, the cloud is not in our hand. We don't have that. Like Gmail server you cannot access. You have to cross 7 layers. Can we see that how the Gmail was working? Let us see the structure of a Google. Go to command prompt and type trace RT and just type google.com. See how many layers are there, where the server is located. Let us see. The first is called, it's connecting to my local router. Second, it is going to my local broadband services. Third, it is going to the broadband services from where he is connected. The next, the broadband services from where he was connected, that company is located where. From that server, it will go to the another. So we call this process called HOPS, HOPS, means host operation processing system. There are 30 hops. It will try to reach the google.com. So here the google.com is having a 172.217.163.46. This is the Google server IP address where the IP address is located. That IP address is connecting until here. After that, after 11 hops only, the server was disconnected. Okay, 172.217.163.46 means it is not allowing me to connect to google.com till California. It was reached till India itself. Okay, which means in between, instead of 30 hops, I was able to connect in 11 hops only. Host means computer, host operation processing system. Each and every IP address is nothing but a one computer. So these many computer after connecting, we are able to reach google.com. So like that, these are the cloud computing services where we need to identify what is their processing, from where they are processing, how they are storing, what is their messaging level, what type of database they are utilizing. That we need to identify by using reverse engineering. That reverse engineering we can investigate using a different third-party softwares which will try to read out the packets. Packets means what? Earlier days, when I'm trying to send one document from one location to another location, what we are doing? We are just creating one packet. That packet will go to the local post office. That local post office will categorize where you are sending your packets. After that, that packet will take to the local exchange office. That exchange local office will categorize, okay, this device has to go to the Bangalore, and another packet is going to the Bangalore inside the city, and another packet will go to the Mysore, another packet will go to the Chennai. So after categorizing of those packets, it will decide the local nearest, again the who is the transporter. In the transporter, they will keep that. From the transporter, it will go to the state level. It will go to the Karnataka state. In the Karnataka state, where is the head office? Head office is Bangalore. In that head office, they will categorize again where it has to be delivered. Either it is a Marathali, either it is a Kundalhali, either it is a Sivajinagar, wherever it is required, it will directly transport it. Same thing, cloud computing also work, but this model is completely different. This is a three-tier architecture. Three-tier means what? One side we will have as a client, one side Google will be have as a server. In between, what are the application we are using is called three-tier architecture. Okay, in that three-tier architecture, we need to understand if you want to test from client side how the access was done. We called as a analysis of a source level investigation, destination level investigation, application level investigation. Then we need to cross check DDoS attack, denial of distributed services. This DDoS attack is nothing but I can create a bot. Bot means a robot. Okay, in my computer, I will create one application. I will hit only one time, but that hit will be distributed into 100. That 100 will be distributed in 1,000. 1,000 will be distributed to lakhs, and the lakhs will be distributed to millions and billions. So when the billion hits will come to Google, what will happen? It will recognize that the hit are coming as a genuine hit or it is a fraud hit, because from one IP address till Google only I can hit only one IP address. I should not hit multiple. If I try to do that, if you do multiple hits, it will ask, are you a robot or a normal person? If you are a robot, then just click this that I am a robot, and I can connect to the Google server as an authenticated user. So that is nothing but a captcha log. So based on the captcha log, robot we will connect directly and it will send to the DNS server, domain name system. Where is the domain name system is available? Now google.com. Google is the name, .com is the DNS extension, commercial domain name. So that domain name from our machine to their machine, it will connect. That time we will able to establish the shake-in. Okay, so cloud computing, we must know the background architecture. If the architecture is very weak, then the system can be hacked. 90% of our government websites are not secure because they are just blindly earlier were working. But when it comes to the new India, now they have the fantastic data center where we cannot enter. Even though if we just search in the Google how the RDX bombs are generated, if you wrongly type, immediately within 48 hours, NIA people will reach at your doorstep. That much power India has created. NIA means National Information, NIC, National Information Center, and the National Investigation Agency who is taking care of, like suppose terrorist word. If you search terrorist word also, the government of India, there is a special team is available called CERT-IN, means Indian Computer Emergency Response Team. Those team will keep on watching how many hits are going from India and from how many hits are coming to India. That analysis we call as a threat intelligence analysis. Threat intelligence means is there any threats are available or not? That type of analysis we need to do continuously based on the packet using cloud computing technology. Now it comes to where the company is used tools, that is called network forensic tools, database analysis tools, file analysis tools, registry analysis tools, email analysis tools, OS analysis tools, disk and data capture analysis tool. If we have a basic knowledge of these many tools, we will be the digital forensic masters, and this tool can help you to recognize each and every case investigation very easy. Let's take to a network forensic tool. What is network? A computer is connected one or more. It's nothing but a networking. So from one computer to another computer, whatever the cables are connected using a Wi-Fi or it's a cable, we are transferring the data from one computer to another computer. Either it is a remote computer, either it is a local computer. It will just analyze the network, how the network behavior is going on. Suppose you have taken 100 Mbps of internet connections. Then you have your 5 computers in your office. So that 10 Mbps will be divided by 1024 of bytes. So how many speed automatically it will be decided and it will share to the system's equal speed. But what happens, instead of 10 Mbps, you people are getting only 2 Mbps. The rest 8 Mbps is getting leaked. Where is getting leaked? That analysis will tell this network forensic tool. Now when it comes to database analysis, normally what happens, take example to the banking sector. In the banking sector, we cannot delete directly any record or we cannot add any record directly. That's why the banking process will take little more delay. Like you are going to open one bank account. So when you are opening any bank account, in the database, they will have a temporary database first at the first level. That is called a jumping server. First server will be your temporary dummy server. And after entering the data, it will get verified and it will go to the next level. Okay. That dumping server will just analyze whatever the information is given, it is correct. Means at the time of a bank branch, that will be your temporary database. If anybody hacks, it will hack till the branch office, not to the state level, not to the country level. It is only the branch level. It will be, the power will be there only till the branch manager. But once the handshake is done, we call it as a client tool. That client tool will talk to the middleman. In that middleman, if it is a secured middleman, then it will tell that yes, whatever the request it is coming, it is valid. Now we can ready to transfer the data into the next level. Like that, it will store into the main head office. Suppose Mumbai is the head office. From Bangalore, you are opening from Shivajinagar one account that will be stored into the Mumbai. It will take minimum to minimum 1 day of translation to understand the security process. After crossing of a 7 layer of investigations internal, then only it will store the data into the database. Next comes to file analysis tool. This is very, very important. And this technology was utilized by your Quickhill, your Kaspersky antivirus, or your Quickhill antivirus, or any antivirus. They use this technology, file analysis tool. Means we know that in our computer, how many types of extensions are available. Because as a layman, we cannot remember that how many extensions are available in my computer. So as if you take example as a Windows server will have .doc means document file, .xls file, it is an Excel file, .bmp, it means a bitmap image file, .png, portable network graphics file, .gif graphic interface file. There is a called txt, it's a text file. .dll means dynamic linking library. So these are the thousands and crores of extensions will be there inside the operating system. Now, as an expert, we should know that how many files are there in computer, where they are, like what is the categorize, what is the path of the file, everything we need to do that. So when we install any Windows operating system, that time all the files will be categorized. And suddenly tomorrow I have created a .tls, .txg, .tsp, all new extension I created and kept in my computer. If you use this file analysis tool, it will immediately detect that there is a malicious extension has been installed in your computer. This may be risk to your computer. Kindly remove it. So we have to remove it. Okay, or we need to add into a exception. If you know that extension is valid and genuine, then only we can do that. Else, what hackers will do, they will change your current dot extension into their own extension. Like already you have a .doc. We will see the live practical how it works. See, here in the new, there is a text document is there. Okay. If I click this, I can type, I can do anything. Let me save this. I have saved. Whenever I open, the file will be open. But when I do the hacking, just I'll go here, go to file, save as all file, test.xg, and just save. See, text M is not opening. So what is the meaning of this? Means I have changed the file extension. If I try to read also, I cannot read. But if I go to edit plus, I can read it. But people think that no, my file has been corrupted, somebody has changed. This is called a initial level of changing of extension. But when you are seizing means the original file itself you are locking. That time this will not open. So let us see, go to file, edit, and just save as. These are the extensions. See, rather than this extension, what I will do, see, now the file from .txt to I changed .xmg. It will also tell that this is a XMG file, Windows shell command file, but it is not a Windows command file. It is a text file only. Now extra entity.dll, I have changed the file structure, but still I can read what I have typed. I have not seized. Now seizing means what? Instead of your file, after manually I'm just showing, after editing, instead of this, I will be changed into like this, like this, like this, like this, and I'll just save it. This is one way. Okay. Now another way I will show you. See, these are the tools are there. Encrypt and decrypt tools are there. AES encryption tools are there. Encrypt a text online. See, here I'm typing hello world. Sanjay Kumar. Encrypt. Now see, these words I'm just opening. I'll just add it. Manually I'm showing, try to understand. Okay. This is the encryption I did. But actually, what is this encryption? If you are aware about that encryption tool, just copy this, come to the browser. Here you come and click decrypt. Hello world, this is Sanjay Kumar. See how so easy, because who has created that encryption, he used a methodology that whatever the word you have created, that they will encrypt it. And by seeing this word, we normally ask that someone, boss, my computer has been hacked, and the people are asking a ransomware. But if you are aware about the ransomware technology and the background, you need not to worry about that. This is nothing but a small investigation. Or we can suppose, we are suppose there is a very important machine informations are there. You want to send them directly. You just write here, encrypt it, and this word you just send them. No one can understand. But at the end of the day, if you decrypt, I can understand what exactly it is happening. So this way, there are multiple third-party tools are there which government of India and police use, we normally use to investigate on digital forensics. Okay, clear? So next we will go to the next topic. Next is volatility. Volatility is one of the forensic tool which is open source framework used to perform the volatility memory forensics. Now I have in my memory. Suddenly at the time of explaining this session, if my computer has been captured and shut down directly, then it will store everything in my memory. And utilizing this volatility of a tool, we can identify what exactly the memory is occupying, what type of information is occupied, everything will be stored. Now next is called EnCase. EnCase is a multi-purpose forensic investigation tool. It can help forensic investigator across the investigation lifecycle. One, forensic track, like prioritizing the file for investigation using the volatility and few parameters. Collection of data based on your requirement. Suppose we have 100 data. We need not to pull all the 100 data. We need to identify, boss, someone is giving a complaint that my computer has been misutilized, and how it was utilized we don't know, but we need to ask a question. Okay, so when you found that the file was altered, now tomorrow morning I was working on that machine. After that I saved the file perfectly without any hesitations. But when I was trying to open that particular file today, I found that the file has been altered. Then what we need to do? We need to work only that particular file, not entire system's file. So that we go. Next is we should know the decrypt of methodology, ability to analyze encrypted data files by decryption method. This is done by using a password recovery mechanism also. We can do that. Then process. We should know, like just I was explaining how I did. Just I have first entered my own information, then I have encrypted. After that, I should know how to decrypt also. So I just typed here and the decrypted I have done. See, again, if you want, I can do like this. Thank you for learning digital evidence. Again, I will encrypt. The word will be changed. See, now again, I'm copying and pasting here. I'll click decrypt. Again, see, thank you for learning digital evidence. So it will keep on changing. We can do this. There are many other tools also available. AES encryption, decryption online tool calculator. See here. Encrypt. Here it is asking what type of encryption level you need, 128 bit, 192 bit or 256. I'll do 256 and I'll do encrypt. See, this is called AES encrypted. Now I will type here and just I will do the decrypt. See, whatever I have typed, I can decode this. So there are multiple processes happening like that. If I do all the files, that will be completely encrypted. Now I need to use a decryption methodology. Again, select mode. There are two type of modes are there: ECB mode, CBC mode. So you can change into as per your requirement. Now we'll go to the next level. Mail examiner. This is very nice tool. Mail examiner means suppose we want to do a forensic investigation on our emails. Normally what happens as a software responsible person in a company and somebody has shared one email and we don't know that the email is came from where. Either someone has changed the date or the content we can identify. Mail examiner is used to perform email analysis. It can examine emails from both web application and mail clients, and it helps investigation of collecting email evidence, arranging the evidence, searching the emails, and how the email patterns has been created. Either it is a spam email, either it is a junk email, everything it can detect. So using this tool, we can do the behavior writing skills also. Like suppose it will ask after opening this application, you can use multiple collection of 10 emails and upload all the emails into this application. It will tell that the writing behavior. Writing means regularly we normally write, dear Sanjay, thank you for contacting us, and we are going to conducting one new session on 20th of December 2020. Kindly be available. This is one type of behavior writing. But after a few days, there is one more mail came that dear Sanjay, we appreciated your mail and we hope to see you again on 20th of December 2020 for this AICTE approved training. See how the behavior has been changed. Same message, same content, only the textual little bit changed. So this mail examiner will try to understand the behavior of the email at the time of investigation. This is called mail investigation in an IT company. Most of the biggest companies they do. So the IT companies, they're utilizing Lotus from IBM company. IBM is having their own mail exchange server, which will be there using for communication. So it is very important for them because from source to destination, when we are sending any information or document or PDF or anything, it's highly confidential. If the market people know the value of that particular invoice, they can lose the business. That's why they use their own mail exchange server. They will not use your Gmail or Yahoo Mail or Hotmail or your this Microsoft Outlook, or they will not use. So like that, Thunderbird, there is a mail server also available. There is a Microsoft Exchange server. So many companies, they're using their own mail servers. This is called FTK. Okay, forensic toolkit. This is used to scan the hard drives. Like there is a hard disk which is compromised, and we know that there is a very ethical, important informations are available in that hard disk. That hard disk will connect into the write protected blocker. What is write protected blocker? Write protected blocker is nothing but a casing. It's like the same way of a mobile. Okay, in front of there is a USB pin will be there. So we using the USB pin drive, we can connect our own original hard disk. So what are the contents are there in the hard disk, it will not change their property value. Like if you are connecting the original hard disk where the crime has happened, if you are connecting directly to copy the data, then when you are copying the data in a local machine, will be recognized as a accused. Accused means criminals. Wantedly, you only did this. But to keep code of ethics and to maintain the dignity of the investigation, we must maintain and follow the protocols. What is the protocol? Now, before connecting any hard disk, we need to use a write protect blocker of devices, so that after connecting, we can copy the entire hard disk information into a local machine without tampering of the old hard disk. That is, we use FTK software. And this software, if you have done investigation, then only if we are filing a case in a court, we will be the winner. Otherwise, it will waste. Next, called Rega. Rega is used for performing Windows registry analysis. What is Windows registry analysis? I'll show you. REGEDIT. Reg edit. Reg edit means registry editor. Just click, you will get these informations. What is this? These are the information where it capture your application behavior. Any application which is you are installing, all their registration information will be stored here. Like suppose you are having any software, go here, all the software. Suppose I have ABB, I have Adobe. So Adobe will have how many application, what is the version. Under that, all these files information, registry information will be available here. When you have purchased, what is the registration name, serial number, everything will be stored here. I have a Photoshop. So Photoshop, which version? 7.0. Registration detail. Everything will be stored here. Okay. Next is bulk extractor. Bulk extractor can be used for extracting important information from files and hard drives. Like as I said, I have a hard disk, I have a memory or anything. These are called extractor of bulk data. Like same time we can want to extract from one machine like IP addresses, like MAC addresses. I have a few images, I have cookies, I have a cache memory, whatever I have in my computer. At a time, bulk, I can capture the data from the computer and I can upload it to that. Okay, these are the information we normally use for bulk extractor. Next is oxygen forensics. Oxygen forensics is used for investigation of like a face analysis. Normally in US or in India at the airport authority, these people use oxygen forensics. They know that what type of utility has been utilized at the time of a crime scene. If it is an Android application, either it is a mobile application, either it is a any brand, anything. If you connect to the mobile phone, it will tell that where exactly the files are available and how it has been organized. Like document file, automatically it will go to the document category. Image file, it will go to the image category. Video file, go to the video category. Automatically it goes everywhere, the categories. Now next called Wireshark. I was telling for cloud computing investigation, we normally use this software called Wireshark. Wireshark is used to capture and analyze the network traffic. I told you network analysis forensic tool. This is one of the best software for network traffic analysis. It will tell that how the crime was happened. Okay, when it was happened, at the time of packet transfer, how many files has been transferred. Everything we can see that by packet, we can break the packet, we can conclude the packet, everything. Now, what kind of computers can be on the internet? We know very well this is very old model, but we know personal devices, personal computers, everything, and all cameras, iPods, okay, the memory drives, okay, memory card, this type of chip card, credit card, chip card, okay. The next is digital evidence computer can create of dialing, routing, address, signaling, email header, metadata. What is metadata? Nowadays, we know that in a google.com, if you type anything, it is capturing and showing the particular devices. Like today, if I type where Gopalan College is situated, then automatically Google will try to search and find out thousands of information. Let's see how it works. I'm just going to google.com. Here I'm typing where is Gopalan Gopalan College of Engineering and Management. Why this detail is showing in Google? Let's do the investigation. And how? So Google is showing this information like Shiksha.com, Gopalan College of Engineering, then gopalancolleges.com. These are the websites has been created. Now how Google knows this? So this is the website. When you right click, okay, when you right click, view page source. View page source. Here we have a metadata. See, metadata keywords. Clearly we can see metadata keywords. What is written? Top 10 engineering college in Bangalore. Engineering college in Bangalore. Top engineering colleges. Engineering colleges in Karnataka. Civil engineering colleges. Under that they have written gopalancolleges.com to be displayed as an author. Page topic will be the engineering college in Bangalore. Copyright is a college, Gopalan College of Engineering Management. So when we type any Gopalan College of Engineering in Bangalore, automatically this word is available like Gopalan College in Bangalore. These keywords are available in this metadata. So based on that metadata, automatically it recognizes Gopalan Engineering College is rated as one of the top 10 colleges in Bangalore. Here admissions are open in 2020 in top engineering college in Bangalore. So wherever the Bangalore or Gopalan, this word is available in this website. That methodology we call as a indexing master. See, can you hear this? Everyone can see this. See, it is telling that whenever if anybody is searching in a Google, my index master should follow. Clearly it is written index follow. Okay, ratings save for kids. Again, Googlebot. Googlebot means if anybody is searching in a Google, then automatically it should index the follow. Okay, so like that. So using this metadata, automatically the data will be captured and stored into the Google server, and the Google server is storing this information into their database. So when you type here that where is Gopalan College in Bangalore, automatically we can able to see a multiple links. Wherever it is there, it will show everywhere. So now I'm going to another website. Shiksha website also, it's written that Gopalan College of Engineering Management. Let's see, right click, view source, and copy this word and try to search. See, in the title it is showing Gopalan College of Engineering Bangalore courses fee placements. Wherever the index master or metadata is available, automatically the data will show in the Google. And see, meta tag keywords content called Gopal College of Engineering and Management. Let's see another one. Same way. See, this is one more website called gopalancolleges.com. Here also it is showing. Let's see, right click, view page source. Here also metadata is showing. See, College of Engineering Bangalore, Architecture, Gopalan College of Engineering, metadata. Again, here also it is showing. So wherever the metadata is mentioned, even though we can also write our name, Sanjay Kumar, metadata, Sanjay Kumar, everywhere my name will display. So that is the technology, and everywhere people will click as index follow. Index follow means they are telling, hello Google, if anybody is searching in your Google website, please follow my index and show everything, whatever it is available in my website, give a link to your website, and that link is here. This is the link. So before doing any forensics, we must know their background story and history. Now comes to log and logs. As I explained, browser cache memory, backup and registry, configuration file, printer spool file. Even though we can do a printer investigation. What happens? Today your printer was working perfectly. After 1 hour, your printer is keep printing continuously, thousands of records without any instructions. Then those printer information will store under printer spool file. Just go here, PRINT, printer spool file, just type. Okay, it's not taking spool file. Not this one. So normally it will show the printer spool file, swap files and other transistence files, surveillance tapes. If any digital evidence or anything is there, that time all these files will be stored. Just a second. Sir, I am on a meeting, sir. I'll just call you back. Yeah. Call meeting. Okay. The next is files and fragments. So files means present and active. So these are the type of files we normally do. What is the present file? What are the active files? How many files has been brought backup? How many has been deleted? How many has been temporary, encrypted and compromised or corrupted files? Those files also we can do the analysis. Fragment files. Fragment files means like our files are there in a different location. Today, suppose you have organized a packets in your wardrobe, okay, or dress. Take it as a dress example. So your all dresses are well pressed and kept in the wardrobe. Today what you have, 2 dresses you kept outside, again another 2, so that area is completely blank. Then rest set of clothes are there, again set of clothes are there, so again you have removed. So the place which is there, it's a completely blank. Now what we have to do, either we have to fill up that blank or we can squeeze that position of the old cloths where it is available, move to left side and try to allow new dress materials to keep in your wardrobe. That concept is nothing but a fragments. Means every day we delete, we copy, we remove everything. So it was unorganized and unutilized of a space. To utilize those space, if you use this fragments tool, all files will squeeze and will be in order, in sequence. Source of evidence. Offender computers or handheld devices. What is this differences? Offender computers means the accused machine, or where the victim machine, where the machine is complaining the complainant, okay, at your office site. That time we need to understand, we have to collect all the data, like when you are using internet connection, where is the log, what is the browser history, what is the email and chat history, what is the user log history, access log history, download history. All the history we need to first collect as a evidence. Next, if there is any mobile phone, digital devices or anything is required, that we need to count. Now, what about server? If there is a server is been hacked, how to investigate that? In the server level also, we use ISP, authentication. Like the server will be connected to the internet. Who is the internet service provider? When the internet was given? How many files has been downloaded? File transfer protocol. For downloading that protocol, what is the port was used? What was the email server was used? What was the LAN server was used? those information logs will be stored in the machine itself. We need to find out where exactly the locations. If we don't know the locations, we cannot trace out. So before this session completes give you an idea before law enforcement, before going to do the investigation. Okay, if you know, very small example, I am just thirsty and I would like to take a tea and I want to prepare it. If I don't know to prepare a tea, what are the ingredients are required, then I cannot prepare the tea. The same way, before doing a digital evidence, we should know that in the digital evidence, what are the things are coming, what is the major tools are required to investigate. This session will tell you what exactly do, what not to do, how to do, and which is very, very important topics. Next is, I told you hard drives, solid state drives, which we call as a SSD hard drive. Nowadays we are getting SSD hard disk. Next is removable media like floppy drive, CD drive, DVD drive, all this. USB pen drive. There are different type of pen drive can be connected to your devices. A normal pen drive will be like this, but a finger pen drive, a wooden pen drive, a watch pen drive, a kids pen drive. In this, we can also storage can be possibility which is connected to your machine or not. We need to cross check. Next, Wi-Fi routers, printers. Then in the car also calling devices that could be also can be hacked. Next, shoe, okay, antennas or anywhere it can be. Now computer forensics. Computer forensics is nothing but a preservation and collection of digital evidence. Preservation means seizing or just freezing your data without tampering. If you are taking the data care is nothing but a preservation and collection. After that, you are collecting those data and submit to the company with a proper law of under court of law. That is a preservation and collection of digital evidence. Now, here there are many steps are there like computer forensics, network forensics, live forensics, software forensics, mobile device forensics, browser forensics, triage forensics. These are the methodologies we normally utilize for investigation. Basic file level, then it comes to a computer forensics. But when it comes to a network, a cable connection from one computer to another computer, it will be a network forensics. Live forensics. Live means it is running condition. At the time of running condition, how the behavior is working, monitoring that particular incident is nothing but live forensics. Software, utilizing our third-party software, as I told you, volatility, then NCase, FTK, access data, these are called software forensics. Mobile device forensics, using your own mobile as a mobile application. Few applications are available in the market. That application will be stored into the mobile phone. Using your mobile phone also can do the investigation. Next is internet level browser investigation. Browser forensic, I told you, in the browser we can find out cache memory, password, settings, and your autofill forms. Everything will be stored into the browser. So that browser forensic also it is calculated. Now, there is a seizing of a computer. This is a different topic. This was I was talking about a write protected blocker. I want to show you that how the hardware there are two hard disks will be there. One hard disk will be your accused hard disk. Another one will be our suspect hard disk. So the investigation hard disk. We need to connect two hard disks using a write protect blocker. So whatever the information is there in A hard drive, will move everything to the B hard drive. The condition is we must have minimum same type of hard disk. It should not be difference. Next, authentication of evidence. How to authenticate that? What are the digital forensics we are doing or forensic ethical forensic we are doing at IT companies? We must authenticate that this investigation, whatever we are doing, the file we are doing, it is our file or outsider file. So with the using of hash value technology, we are using the authentication process. So a authentication will be done in a two way. One is called MD5, one is SHA. MD5 means message digest algorithm file, version 5, and SHA means secure hash algorithm. So this is the two type of algorithm we are going to confirm. Means again you will at the end of the day you all people will have a question, sir, we don't understand hash value. A hash value is nothing but a your mobile IMEI number. Like how I can confirm that this mobile belong to yours? You can say that yes sir, I have purchased this mobile which IMEI number is registered under my name, where I have installed my SIM card. The SIM card is belong to me, and the SIM card, what are the documents I have given, it's belong to me. Again, the mobile phone, the bill shows it to me. So it shows that the particular digital device is belong to a authenticated person. Same way, when we are seizing any information from the laptop, desktop or anything, every file you know that it's based on the 0 and 1. But those understanding of zeros and 1 and making as a confirmed report, we called as a hash report, hash value report. And the hash value report will generate in a two way. There are two algorithms, MD5 algorithm, SHA algorithm, message digest algorithm, secure hash algorithm. Now, the hash value will be look like this. If it is a MD5 hash value, it is a 32 character and it will show as a 3FDSJO9044U43. So this type of information we can authenticate that from which workstation or a machine has been compromised, it is true and is original and genuine. There is no malpractice has been done. Now, hashing tool example. There are Miracle Salad, FileFormat.info, Slavasoft.com, FTK Manager. These are the companies which use to produce hash value and which is authenticated by court of law. So we can utilize this tool for our digital evidence for collecting or authorization giving to the particular devices. Now, MD5 hash value, how it is actually calculated, the algorithm. It is a 128-bit 16-byte message digest sequence with a 32 character. That means it is a maximum of 32 character. It is not more than that or not minimum. Okay, so today's session we understood that digital forensic is very important role in our personal life as well as a digital life. If you are using any Facebook, WhatsApp or any type of social media, either we are using email server like Yahoo, Gmail or Reddit Mail, then also we are we should know how to do that. And when it comes to a file level or a desktop level, a laptop level, tablet level or in a mobile level, we must know that before doing investigation, we should have a basic code of ethics, basic knowledge of forensic tools and their behaviors, their architectures, how the architecture was designed, how the application was designed, where actually some secret files which stores, all information we must know that. If we know this methodology, then digital forensic will be the more easier investigation at our self level at corporate industry. So hope all you guys understood the basic principle, code of ethics and procedures of digital forensics. Let me know if you have any questions. I will clarify in this 20 minutes. Thank you.
Participants, please go through and any questions, please feel yourself free and post it on the chat box or directly you can ask. Any questions, please? Hello.
Please feel free, because
Yes.
anyhow this is not a final session. I do understand this is the like a very huge topic, but yes, I'm sure that wherever you go after finishing your college and you are working in any company, if you have this process methodology, then it will be really helpful. Suppose you are joining as a tester, guys. आप लोग टेस्टर हैं, and when you're going for test of any application, what we do, you do manual testing, you do automation testing, you know, black testing, white testing. After that you are going inside and deep level with the case studies. You do use cases. What is use cases? You have a sample cases to test either this case study is meeting the priority criteria or not. So those type of investigation also is one type of forensics. Whatever we touch, we do analysis, we call it as a forensics. If you're using digital device, it's a digital evidence or digital forensics. So please do not hesitate. You can ask me a question.
Sir, there is one question.
Yeah.
From Vikas Jain, he is asking, can you summarize the same? He wants summarization of all the total session today. That is in the.
Okay, in one line they need a summarization topic. Okay, so the basic usage of forensics in IT companies using ethical evidence, code of ethical evidence technology. It's very simple. In a very one line, I'll tell you. Digital forensic, it's not a new things. It's not a new things. Forensic is a existing basic practices procedures. If you want to do anything, how it happens, why it happens, how it happens, why it happens, when it happens, and how to resolve it. All these five, how, why, where, and when. This forensics will help us to understand the to crack the solution. Okay, but here we are adding just a digital. So this digital forensics is telling that when there is an application or a device is used and we identify that there is a mistake or something it happens or their behavior or how it is functioning, if you do the analysis, okay, you can get the solution. Take a very good example.
Hello, sir. Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Is it audible? Hello. No.
Okay. So, very good example. We have developed one software, and that software is going to be installed in a banking sector. Now, when it goes to a banking sector, what we have to do? There is one example. Again, I'm just elaborating once again. There is a XYZ bank has given a software order to a XYZ company. Now, after developing the software, who is the in charge of that software? He has added one line of software integration, API, application peripheral interface, has been installed into the application. What does that application do? If any user do any transactions, deduct 10 paisa additionally. Suppose I am downloading or withdrawing from my bank ATM 10,000 rupees, then it will add 10,000 10 paisa. Like that, per day, how many people are doing how many transactions in a swiping or in a POS or in ATM? 1,000 and crores. So 10 paisa into 10 paisa into 10 paisa, 1,000 crores means how many amount has been debited of their customers? Crores of rupees. Now, if someone is giving a complaint that boss, last 3 months I'm just doing an analysis that 10 paisa is deducting from my bank account continuously. What exactly this? So bank will give a order to the software developer. Dear guys, as we have purchased the software from you and we want to know the analysis forensic report, why it is happening, how it is happening, where the money is going and how it is going, we need the complete process report. We call it as a root cause analysis. In my last training, I was telling that root cause analysis. Why? The question is created is why and how. So when we do the investigation, we call the process vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. Vulnerability assessment means reading of each and every code and executing using a third-party software. That software will try to read out the entire code of a structure, how the coding has been written, what is the methodology has been utilized, is there any additional code has been encrypted, any algorithm has been applied. These are the basics process will be available and it will detect that yes, there is a few transaction after doing additional transaction is happening. What was that line? That particular line they will just prefetch and put into for analysis as a decryption. After doing a decryption, they will do a statement analysis. Every user is claiming that 10 paisa is debiting from their bank account. So this 10 paisa, where it exactly going? So if you have a bank statement log analysis, it will tell that from X account to Y account using via method, bypassing that amount and depositing into a XYZ account. So we understood that from A account to B account, there is a bypass method has been utilized without following of guidelines from Reserve Bank of India. This person is downloading 10 paisa from bank account to his personal account, and that account is not genuine account. That genuine account is somewhere. So this is a dummy account. When we investigated this dummy account, the person is already dead in a 10 years back, but the account is open. From that account, the amount is going to another account. And from that account, it is going to Dubai. From that Dubai, it is going to a Chennai. And from that Chennai, it is coming to the Bangalore. So Bangalore is the genuine guy. So how this process has been done, we called as a collection and preservation of digital investigation using a forensic methodology. This is the actual conclusion of a summary of today what we have discussed. Now it is clear?
Thank you, sir. I hope Vikas Jain might have got a good answer from sir. And one more question he asked, sir. Can we use free firewall available on Play Store?
No, we'd never suggest, because free firewall means it's a free. Free means it's a phishing. Means we are just installing the software, but it doesn't work the actual free firewall. Okay. Even though if I give you 1 crore rupees of a firewall, still it will not block your content. Because take example of a Gopalan College. Now Gopalan College is having a 25 machines and they have internet connection. After that they connected one router. From that router they connected one firewall. And take it example as a free firewall or a paid firewall also. That paid firewall, after doing that, you have given access all your 25 machines. In all 25 machines, people are sitting and they are trying to access your Facebook. It will not open because firewall is given a content. If anybody is typing Facebook, do not open. Gmail, do not open. Instagram, do not open. You have instruction only limited. But tomorrow if I come with a test back, took back, to space, something if I come, the page will open. What is the use of firewall? In that case, people are very clever. VPN also means our firewall will also bypass using a VPN proxy, virtual private network, means where your internet is coming, they will install in some application machine as a VPN, and from where the internet is coming, that internet they will bypass, and from there they can able to access all. So where hardware firewall is not protecting, where free firewall will protect. So it is a unsuggestible application and I'm not recommending as a free firewall. Clear, sir?
Thank you, sir. I think Vikas Jain is satisfied with the answer. Any more questions, please? So your mic is unmuted. You can talk to sir directly. Yes, Vikas Jain, you can talk to sir directly. Unmute your mic.
Everybody,
Yes.
please do not hesitate. I can speak directly. Anusha, Srijit, Dr. P.N. Sudha. Please, you people can ask me a question. Saranya.
Yes, sir. Sir, one more question is posted by Vikas Jain. Please
Yes.
suggest some firewall which is more secure in McAfee. Is McAfee is good like that? He's asking.
No. See, there are two types of firewall. Either it is a software firewall, either it is a hardware firewall. Hardware firewall is the best firewall. I do understand the price will be high, but not. If it is an individual user, we can use very nice firewalls are available, which cost around, I think, 3,000 rupees is it's minimum. It's very good and economically it can protect any type of just select the categories, how many types of category, because this company in this lockdown, they have done a lot of research and at the end of the day, they created a filter. There are 29 categories they created. Social media, any type of social media comes, it will block it. Any type of human trafficking of websites will be blocked. If any software malicious, they will block. It will give only the genuine filterizations. So I suggest if you go with the hardware firewall with the router, it is good suggestion. So later, and McAfee is a which can stop some extent level, because software they have their own knowledgeable firewall validations, where if new comes, until unless your database is not updated, or suppose you forgot to update your database, or your internet is failure for a few days, then your antivirus is not active. But after 10 days your internet came and you are trying to access, immediately your firewall will detect that there is a malicious software was trying to insert into your computer, where McAfee antivirus cannot detect. But because to detect it will take another time. Meanwhile, they can go inside and collect your data as a ransomware. So I suggest only hardware firewall. Clear, Vikasji? Any question? Hello? Any question? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
He's not able to use the mic, it seems. Okay, so I think he's satisfied. Vikas Jain is satisfied with the answer. Then, sir, let us conclude, sir.
Yeah.
I think no more questions. So thank you very much, sir. We had an excellent, awesome session. Thank you so much. I hope all our participants have gained a lot of information through this session, sir, today. We would like to have more sessions in future also. Once again, thank you very much. Thanks to all the participants. Dear participants, tomorrow we'll have a 4th day session, so which starts at 10 a.m. Let us join by 10 a.m. tomorrow. So thank you. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sanjay sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.